The fact is that regardless of age or life experience, everyone has a story to tell. There is a deep well of anecdotes guaranteed to bring smiles to faces, an unending wealth of laughter to be mined for. These are tales to tell. So, what's your story?
What the hell just happened?
That's NBC Palm Springs news anchor Sara Sanchez quoting her mother-in-law. Now, back in 2007, Sarah's family experienced a very chaotic morning, one that was shrouded in mystery for years after. It's the kind of tale that answers the question whether or not it's a good idea to answer your door at 2 in the morning. Anyway, this is Sara Sanchez, and she has a tale to tell.
So this happened probably back in 2007. My father-in-law is a sanitation worker, so he drives a trash truck, and he leaves really early in the morning to start his route. So it was about 2 in the morning, and he gets a knock on their back door. They have like one of those back doors with like a big window that kind of goes back to their detached garage with their big yard in the back. So he hears a knock on the back door at 2 in the morning, like and it's like a Tuesday, totally random. And there was a young woman who came in. This is his telling of this part. A young woman, and she said, "Can I use your phone? I need to have my dad pick me up." And he says, "Yeah, come on in." And she goes, "Can I have a sweatshirt?" And he's like, yeah, okay. Come on in. I gotta go to work, but you can come on in. He goes and wakes up my mother-in-law and says, "There's a woman here who needs to use the phone. I gotta go to work." She's like, someone's here? Like, it's 2 in the morning. Like, what? So she goes out, and he leaves for work, and she comes out, and she says this girl, she's very young, probably early 20s, is covered in blood. She says, like, her hands are like she dipped her hands in blood, like, up to her, like, elbows, just covered in blood. She's also not wearing any pants or underwear, and this was, like, February in Chicago, so freezing. She's not wearing, and she's just wearing, like, a spaghetti strap tank top, and nothing. Like, she's naked and covered in blood, mainly like on her arms and stuff. And so she is freaking out. She's like, "What do you need something? What do you need? You need more than a phone to call your dad." And so she's like, "Here, let me give you, like, do you need Band-Aids?" So she's like giving her Band-Aids. She's giving her a towel. She gave her like her old sweatpants and an old 90s Beauty and the Beast sweatshirt, which she wants back, by the way, and she's never seen. And she is like, what can I do? And she's like, I need to call my dad. And she's frantic. And so she's like, okay. So she gives her the phone, and she gives, presumably, her father on the other line. She gives her explicit directions to their house. So turn left here. Well, this is where we live. A little while later, she thinks, like, I just gave explicit directions to God knows who, what is going on. And so then at some point, she goes into my sister-in-law's room. My sister-in-law was in high school at the time. She goes into her room, and she goes, "Sammy, here's the cordless phone, or like take your phone or whatever, like be on alert right now, because there is a woman in our house covered in blood." Sammy's like, "Okay," and she's like, "Just be on high alert." Okay. No sooner did she go into Sammy's room, did they hear boom, boom, boom on their front door. And Sammy's room's right by the front door, and my mother-in-law says I think the door was like coming off its hinges. She's like, it was like a cartoon where it like bends. Boom, boom, boom at the front door. The police let us in. And my sister-in-law and mother-in-law get down on the ground, like flat on the ground, and there's lights shining through all the windows. They can see, like flashlights. They're on the ground, and they're terrified. And she's like, "Sammy, call 911. So Sammy, like, could barely hold the phone. She's shaking so badly, and she is trying to call 911. She can barely, like, press the numbers, She gets a dispatch, and dispatch says, we're there, open up." So they open up the front door. My mother-in-law says she looked out the back towards, like, the kitchen area where the girl was, which has, like, a big breakfast nook with full windows outside to their backyard. Cops everywhere, canine units everywhere. There's looked outside. There was like 9 police cars in their driveway, like parked all crazy on the grass. And they bust in. They're like, where is she? They grab the girl and they run. They just like take her. And they leave. And my mother-in-law's like, what's going on? And they're like, we'll follow up with you tomorrow. Thank you. And she's like, what the hell just happened? So she calls her, because she works in a school district. She calls work. She's like, I'm not going to be coming in. And she explains the whole story. There was a naked, bloody lady at my back door, and the cops just took her away. She calls Sammy's high school and was like, you can't, like, Shayna's not going to come in today. There was a naked, bloody lady. We're not getting any sleep. There's no way we're going to be able to sleep tonight. She calls my father-in-law and she's like, stop letting in random people in the middle of the night covered in blood and then tell me to take care of them. What were you thinking? And he's like, oh, what? I didn't think. She's like, did you not notice she wasn't wearing any underwear or that she was covered in blood? And he was completely oblivious to like her state, which is funny. And so then the next day she calls the police station and she's like, what was that? And they said, we don't have any record of being at your house last night. And she's like, are you serious? She's like, I gave explicit directions to some strange man that was supposedly this woman's like father, and you can't help me, you can't tell me. No, ma'am, we have no recollection that we were at your house. We have no records of it. We were not at your house last night. So Sammy had a friend whose dad worked for the police department. He says that it was confidential. So they like didn't find out basically for years. Not long after, like a month later, my father-in-law was driving to work again, like at 2 a.m, and they live near one of like the classic like mental hospitals outside Chicago that has a history of like performing lobotomies like within the recent past. Like it's like not a good mental hospital. And there was a woman running out in like a hospital gown. He could tell she was naked at this time. Could tell she was naked, running out trying to flag him down, and he kept on driving. He was like, "Not today."
Oh my God!
Just kept on driving. But then they found out, like over 10 years later, what happened. I got a call one day from my husband. I'll always remember where I was when I got the call. It was super random. It was like, it was like 7 years later. He calls me, he's like, we have an answer to the bloody lady story. Like, what? So I guess there was a string of burglaries in the neighborhood, and a detective had come to their door and said, like, hey, have you had any suspicious activity in your neighborhood? And my mother-in-law said, no, but you need to tell me what happened back in 2007 on this date, So he's like, I'll see what I can do. I'll find something for you. So he goes back to the department, comes back and tells her that it was a woman who was, married, dating a police officer, and she was high on crack and had busted through a glass door of a motel. Like there's like these like lovers motels, and she busted through the glass door of the lovers motel and was covered in blood and ran to their house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was the story. I actually like it better without the ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Oh, so the police were keeping it under wraps because it was one of their own involved.
One of their own.
Wow. Okay.
But in the meantime, if you have someone come to your house covered in blood and naked, don't let them in. It's the moral of the story. Because it won't end well.
Yeah. That's a rule I live by anyway. But now I know why.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.